Hello there, this is Callie with Callie Experiments. So I discovered a little something that I wanted to show you. If you saw by the title, so basically it's, if you've ever seen like Blender tutorials or whatever, draping a blanket over an object, and recently Daz added to Daz Studio 4.10 dForce. And so I got to thinking, what kind of things can I do with this? And I wanted to show you kind of the process of what I went through. So the objective being, I want to take a plane, this basically using all primitive objects, except for maybe the shaders, but as far as posable objects, using all primitives and creating a blanket to drape over something. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new primitive, which is this little icon right here. Now your setup may be different from mine, but I'm going to start off. The default is 1 on divisions, and I kind of want to show you what happens. This is, if you've ever tried this, this is the norm of what happens. I'm going to raise this up, and I'm going to go ahead and surface this just so you can kind of see it. I have a particular one that I've been using just more than anything because I like the color. So I'm going to go ahead, click on, I'm on my surfaces tab, click on editor, and I'm going to select it. That way it knows what to add the surface to. And I'm going to set, now you may or may not have that one. You can use any, or you can just give it a color. Now in order to make dForce happen, click on simulation settings, and this comes from, if you click up here on window, which you may not see it, I think I've got it covered, but I'm clicking on window, then panes tabs, and then right here simulation settings, and that's going to pull up, whoops, that's going to pull up the simulation settings tab right here. And what you're going to want to do is right here on that little hamburger menu, actually it looks more like a BLT because it's got 4 instead of 3. Click on that, click on hover over dForce, then add dForce modifier dynamic surface, and click that. And now your primitive plane is ready for dForce. Now the settings that I haven't really adjusted any of the settings here. One that you can do is the stabilization time, which I set it to 2, and this is in seconds. Correct me now, the comments down below is for you to either tell me thank you or to tell me no, I have it all wrong. I thoroughly encourage either type. My understanding of this is the number of seconds for this activity to kind of happen, not the number of seconds for it to render, but as if I had an object hanging over the sphere that I have down below, how long it takes for it to physically drop in real time and therefore create the rippling effect. And I've got it set to 2 seconds at this point, which is more than I actually need because it only takes half a second to drop a blanket onto a ball. But, you know, I just want to make sure I get all the flowy ripples, yada yada. So I've set it to 2. And again, like I said, if I've got it completely wrong what that's for, then please tell me in the comments below. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate this. And we're going to see what happens. Alright, now it's going, you're going to watch it. And as you see, I've got 2 views because I want you to see. And I'll explain a little more here in just a minute. Okay, so using the default with 1 division, basically saying it's not divided at all, you get kind of a paper airplane kind of look. It's real stiff, doesn't do anything. So I tell you what, so we are going to delete this. I'm going to create another one. Again, plane. And I've got it set to about 5 meters. This time I'm going to divide it up to 10. So as you can see, and this is why I have 2 windows going here. This one I have it set to wireframe so that I can actually watch the polygons. And over here I've got it set to texture shaded. You can also set it to NVIDIA Array, which is actually what I prefer to do because my end renders are usually in NVIDIA, and it to me it just looks better, or maybe I've just gotten used to it, I don't know. But for the purposes of this demo, so that you can see what's going on without all the extras, I'm setting it to oh, what is it called? Texture shaded. Alright, so we're going to lift it up a little bit so that it has some place to fall from. Again, I am going to shade this. I'm not sure it took that time. Okay. There we go. There we go. Alright, so now I have this split into a 10 by 10. And let's see what happens. Let's not forget to add dForce to it. There we go. Now let's simulate. Now, as you can see, now it is draping a little bit more. So those polygons add some bendy. And as you can see, it did drape. It draped a little more for you, and you can see how it bends along. And when you look at it with the wireframe, you can see exactly how the bends are happening. Alright, but I'm just not happy with that. So now I'm going to do 4 more experiments, if you will bear with me. And I'll probably edit out the time codes, but I want to take this experiment a little further, show you some things. So now I'm going to up this to 48, and we're going to do some comparing and contrasting so that you can really see. I'm going to create this. I'm going to create another one, 96. Do be aware, the more polygons you add, there's a couple of things that happens. The more polygons you add, number one, the longer it's going to take up more memory. Like Daz's ability to do stuff. I don't have a whole lot of objects in here, so blanket 96, so it's not going to have a rough time with it. But you will see, depending on your machine that you're working with, you could see a slowdown in the window of its ability to maneuver around and for you to be able to do your editing. Also be aware when it renders, because of the number of polygons, it could also increase your render time. So be aware of that. Again, a small one like this is probably not affected too heavily, but when you get really into large renders, the more polygons you have, the longer it's going to take to render. Also, if you're importing things into your games, also be aware of that. The more polygons you have, the more memory it's going to take up in whatever game you're doing. But just for the purposes, I like things to be realistic, so I'm going to go ahead and give it 96 polygons. Let's go ahead and where to go? Surfaces. I'm going to go ahead and surface these. Come back to presets. Give them both the blanket look. Now, I'm going to duplicate these, and I'm going to show you why I'm duplicating these here in just a little bit. But let's go ahead. We're going to turn all of these off. Alright, let's start with blanket 48, and let's see how this does. Oh, my bad. Let's add dForce to all of these. I'm going to select them all. Select on the BLT menu, Dynamic Surface. There we go. And just as a, I don't know how much experience you have, one other nice little thing about adding the dForce to it is when you look, oops, it's not the parameters tab, my apologies. When you look in the surfaces tab, click on editor, and it will add this simulations tab here. I'm not even showing you, but just tip of the iceberg of what this thing can do. There's so many. And one thing I've played with on another that I did, which is something I could talk about later. Where did I put it? Okay, simulation settings. Look, click on the environment tab. You have this gravity and air resistance. I actually have done a render where, and I use the default dress that comes with the dForce example that Daz gives you with the update to 4.10. And what's really interesting is I did where she's floating, And if you set gravity to 0 and air resistance to 0, the dress floats as well. It's really a remarkable thing. It's really worth playing with. So for today, though, we're just going to play with that. So I've set the dForce. Let's go ahead and simulate that with 48 polygons. Now, as this thing comes down, this is the reason why I have two windows, is so you can see this in action. So if you look on the left side, now you see it has so many more places to bend. You got more curves, you got more wrinkles, and it just looks gorgeous. That's just gorgeous. Now, here's another experiment. This is totally personal taste. Whether or not you want to do this is completely up to you. Okay, let's select the one with 48. Actually, I don't know if I'll do this. Maybe I'll do this with the 96. Okay, so this is a little extra step. And again, it is completely personal taste. I'm going to come up here in the BLT menu in the Scene tab with the one that I want to have. There we go. We're going to select blanket 48. This is the one we have it. Edit, Geometry. Whoops. You don't have to be, Daz is being picky. Triangulate. Watch what happens. Now, it does give this pop-up window. I could say do not show this again, but it's basically, I'm leaving it for myself. Basically, it's saying, once I do this, I cannot change my mind. Do I want to continue? And for this purposes, yes. And basically, all it's done is taken the polygons and turned them all into triangles. So, so it's gone from 48 times 48 squares to 96 by 96 triangles, however many that is. And it has a little bit. Now, when you do this with a low polygon count, you notice, if you're wondering to yourself why I didn't do this with the 10 version, because when I tested it before doing this video, it was disastrous. it just didn't work. So we're going to go ahead and do it with this. And again, this is, when I tested this earlier, the difference really wasn't that much. It's just personal preference. I'm not really sure if it really made a big difference or not. It was kind of yes, kind of no. So this is personal preference. It really pays when you're doing this to just test. Test and see what it does. Test and see what the results. Honestly, I personally, without the triangulation, with the triangulation, without, with. Totally personal preference. Alright, so let's go ahead. Let's see what it looks like with 96 polygons. And this is probably going to take a little bit longer. As you can see, it's taking a little longer to drop. But the more polygons you add, the more places you give for it to bend. So it's going to get more and more realistic. You can really go quite crazy with this and even just go further. And as far as the number that I'm choosing, really, number divisible by 3. Really, that's it. You could do 10, 20, 100, 150. And why I chose a number divisible by 3 is because at the time I was playing with triangulation and I really didn't know better. Honestly, it'd probably be better if you chose a number divisible by 4. So if you look at that, the sheer number of polygons that I've added have really added a whole lot more wrinkles and a whole lot more draping. Look at that. Yeah, that's just gorgeous. Okay, now I'm going to skip on the triangulation because there's one more thing that I want to show you. So you're going to go, if you're in your Simulations tab, you're going to go to your Surfaces tab. Click on the BLT menu. dForce Surface Adjuster. Now personally I find this really confusing because it's not in the simulation settings. You do end up finding yourself going back and forth between the scene tab, the simulation settings tab, the surfaces tab. So if what you're looking for is not in one, look in one of the other two. But look at this dForce Surface Adjuster. Currently selected. Okay, so basically what it's saying is I need to select the very thing that I'm wanting to adjust. So I'm going to select that, go back to the BLT, dForce Surface Adjuster. And this is also worth playing with. So I'm going to make it silkier. I'm going to do it by 10 just because I don't know how to think small just yet. Stiffer is basically what it sounds like, just makes it stiffer. Silkier means it's not going to be as stiff. Alright, so let's see what this does. Alright, so you can see there's already more draping going on. It's not as bendy, but it's going to have a more drape kind of look to it. So again, it's worth just playing with the settings and seeing what works for you. In this particular case, let's see. Now, I'm not terribly crazy about that, so I'm going to, in order to get rid of what I just did, so I'm going to completely remove dForce modifier. It's going to flatten it out and erase everything that I've done with dForce. I'm going to start from scratch. dForce, dynamic surface. Now I'm going to go to surfaces, dForce Surface Adjuster. This time I'm only going to do 3. Now, let's go ahead and simulate that and see what happens. Okay, so there you have it. So it adds more wrinkling. It's kind of, to me, it's kind of like, you know, the thinner the material, maybe the silkier you want it. It's based on how you want the object to appear. Do you want it to appear like it's a thinner material that's probably going to cling a little more, or is it a thicker material that may not bend as much? And just to compare, so this is with 0 silky, 3 silky, 0, 3. So you can see it does make a little bit of a difference without, with. You can kind of see how in this one over here it's got just kind of a cleaner look to it. Without, with. Alright, so that is using primitive objects only. Everything in here is a primitive object. With dForce applied to create a draping look. And maybe later on I will, you know, next thing I'm going to play with is I'm going to take a glass and see what happens when I drape something over a glass. I'm just kind of curious to find out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment down below. If you did not like what I did, or I did everything wrong, or I explained it wrong, please feel free to vent in the comments below. I am learning just like many other people are, and I am very, very open to those kind of comments. In the meantime, stay awesome.